This is the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
From 98.1 CHFI Studios in Toronto, Canada.
Hey Toronto, this is Ed Sheeran.
This is Kelly Clarkson.
Hi, this is Bryan Adams.
This is Adele.
This is Madonna.
It's Michael Bublé, and you're listening to the Pooja and Gurdeep Show. It's fun. They're amazing.
So it's no secret that you like to abbreviate words. You shorten them often because you think you're saving time. You think you're being efficient.
It's just a fun way to talk.
You know what? A lot of people do text that way. You know, instead of writing out thanks fully, they put THX.
Okay, so here's where I draw the line in the sand. I shorten words when I speak, but I text like I'm writing an old school letter with a
Really?
with a feather tip pen.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't put it in a text like that.
Not necessarily. I tend to text very formally, like I'm writing an email or something. But you know the way I talk. Like tonight, I'll be watching the Leaf game with my pot and spatch, making some noise.
Yeah. So you wouldn't write spatch in a text.
Only if I was texting you.
Because I think you have. Okay, because here's the thing. They did a survey and they found that 90% of people that they surveyed between 18 and 65 years old said that they do abbreviate words over texting. That's a lot of people. 84% said that they think that those abbreviations have a positive impact or maybe no impact at all. Like they don't think like they're really causing any problems or any issues in your relationships. However, the findings say that a text abbreviation can make the recipient feel like they're being brushed off, like they don't matter. So like sometimes if you're just like, oh, hey, how's it going? Whatever, I did this for you. And you just write back, thanks, but you don't spell out thanks. It feels,
THX?
Yeah, it feels dismissive.
This is how my nephews text, but I think that's maybe a generational thing, so I tend to not take it personally. I think it depends on the abbreviation, right? Like if it's THX, but then you take the time to put in a couple of smiley face emojis or the thankful emoji, then I'm like, oh, okay, no, you actually are thankful and you mean it. If I send you a long text and you just respond with, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Then I'm like, what did I do?
Yes.
I'm in trouble.
It's true. And like, you know, at the end of the day, it probably isn't that deep, right? It's just somebody's just trying to text quickly. But the way it feels to the person who's receiving that text, not good for your relationship. So it's something you should start thinking about in text form. In your everyday language, you abbreviate things, sure, but maybe just not over text.
This is why, Pooja, you know this about me. I'm team voice note. I am a voice noter because so much can get lost on text, misconstrued, especially if, let's say, you just started dating someone, you met someone new, and maybe they're misinterpreting your text thinking, oh, he's not that into me, or oh, he's brushing me off.
Right.
You send a voice note, you can hear the warmth, you can hear the context, the intonation, the inflection, the subtleties, the suggestiveness.
Yes.
All of it.
And then you can say spatch and it's okay.
Exactly. And if she doesn't respond to that, I know she's not for me.
From CHFI Studios,
It's the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
Okay, if you're a cat person or a dog person, there's a new study that's out revealing that what you choose says a lot about your own personality. And sure, there are people who like them both, but we're talking about if you're just a cat person or if you're just a dog person.
I smell a Venn diagram. I love a Venn diagram.
They've done many studies. So there's been a study out in 2010. There was one in 2014, another one in 2019, and they all kind of point to the same thing. So what I'm about to tell you is based on these studies. It's not me saying it.
Right. And before you give us the results, I feel like people already come in with some pretty loaded assumptions about dog people and cat people.
Do they?
Well, like, I mean, if I asked you what you think a dog person is and a cat person is, you probably already have some ideas, no? I mean, I know I do.
I guess maybe I think about the pet itself, right? I think about what dogs are like and what cats are like, which is really what this study is also saying, is that in many ways, you sort of mimic the personalities of your pet. So if you are a cat person, for instance, which, by the way, the studies found that cat people are smarter than dog people. I'm just saying.
Whoa. Hey, now.
That's what the study revealed because they say that if you think about a cat's personality, right? They like to be at home. They're kind of like keep to themselves. They're kind of, you know, like enjoy a quiet night in. And maybe as a cat owner and a cat lover, you have the same personality. You're more likely to not be as extroverted. You maybe read more. And they actually did like a test, an intelligence test, and cat owners did rank higher than the dog owners.
Really?
Yes.
That's fascinating.
Yes.
Okay.
And then dog people are more personable, more charismatic. And I guess that also makes sense of what you think of dogs, right? Dogs are friendly. They're a little bit more extroverted. So are the people.
Well, you know, we're pretty awesome.
Yeah, you're pretty awesome. You're energetic. You're outgoing.
But can I say one thing that's interesting is, like, you're saying cat people tend to be at home more, but it's fascinating because to be devil's advocate, like, cats are very independent. Like, you don't need to necessarily be home all the time for cats, whereas dogs are much more needy. you need to be around dogs more. Dogs are pack animals. Cats, you could leave home for most of the day, and they're kind of. So it's interesting. I could make an argument the other way, but the cool thing with dogs is like a lot of cats are house cats. They stay at home. They don't. But with dogs, like you generally want to find places you can take your dog. You take your dog to the park. You take your dog.
It's all about socializing.
It's all about socializing.
Which makes sense. But like, even though the cat doesn't need any sort of caretaking, maybe as your personality as the cat owner, the reason why you love the cat is because they're independent, and so are you. You also don't need the validation of others. You don't really care for the socializing per se.
Right. There's definitely something to that.
Maybe.
There's parts I agree with, parts I disagree with. I love that dog people are more personable and charismatic than cat people, but I also want to be smarter than cat people. I want it all, Pooch.
So what do you think? Cat people are smarter than dog people. Dog people are more personable and charismatic than cat people.
Controversial.
Agree? Disagree? I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Do you think I need to do up a Venn diagram to illustrate this?
The Pooja and Gurdeep Podcast.
This is the Pooja and Gurdeep Podcast.
New study reveals that cat people are smarter than dog people.
I don't know.
And dog people are more personable and charismatic than cat people.
I agree with that part.
We were, it's true. And we were saying that if you just think about the personality of a dog or you think about the personality of a cat, chances are you probably picked them for the same reason that you're those things. Like you have those personality traits as well.
I see myself in Coffee Tea Pooch.
You do, right?
It's true. I do.
You do.
I do,
so
absolutely.
I don't know. Is there any truth to this? You agree, disagree? Simran from Mississauga, what do you think?
So I'm going to agree with Pooja. Here's why. My sister has a cat, super smart. She's doing her PhD in neuroscience.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And she's only she's 22. So beat that. But like her cat, like she's very independent. She's also very lazy. She stays home. She's always studying. So it kind of goes in line with the cat theme. Now, for the dog, I know someone with a dog. I really don't know him. His name's Gurdeep. And based upon what I've seen about his Instagram, he's always out and about, going here and there, never stays still. So I kind of get that for the dog people who are like outgoing, charismatic. Like, yeah, that's Gurdeep.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I don't know who this guy is, but he sounds awesome.
Simran, do you know what we need to do? We need to get your neuroscientist sister to play Can't Beat Gurdeep. That's what we need.
Oh, no. I don't need that. I want to keep my money.
You know what? She's actually home for this week. I actually will go to my mom's place and make her call.
Okay.
Gurdeep, you need to lose $1,000, buddy.
Okay. All right. You know what? Bring it. Simran, thank you so much for the call. We appreciate you.
No worry, guys. Take care. Bye.
True test, right? Like, are cat people smarter than dog people? That would be the actual test.
If we can settle the debate in one game, I'm willing to do it. We should do it. Simran, hit up your friend, your cousin. Let's play. Okay. Do you agree with this study that says cat people are smarter than dog people, but dog people are essentially more sort of outgoing and personable? Hyman in Toronto.
You know what happened? I have a cat. And honestly, Pooja is right. You're right, Gertie, and Pooja is right. The balance is there because like the dog is more needy, right? Mm-hmm. And the dog needs that kind of sentimental touch sometimes. As Gertie said, you could leave the cat all day, and that's fine. But the dog, no. And then the cat, she just need her cuddling time if you're home, or if you're not home, she finds her way to cuddle or whatever you have for her to have fun with.
Yeah, so Hyman, what I'm hearing is you think you're smarter than me. Hyman, we appreciate your thoughts on this, buddy.
Not a problem, but good one, guys.
From CHFI Studios,
It's the Pooja and Gurdeep Podcast.
It's National Email Day, and I don't know about you, but when I think back to like early days of email, there's no way that I could have predicted at that time that it would be something that I use every single day, and it would be as important as it's become. Like, I spend most of my day responding to emails.
Dare I say it would become the bane of your existence?
Yes.
The thing that you are obligated to do that you spend at least a couple of hours each day doing, clearing your inbox.
Yes.
Got to clear my inbox. Yeah, this became the pervasive way to communicate in the workplace, where I feel like when it started, I don't know about you guys, but like for me, it was ridiculous forwards, jokes. It was those scary ones where like it would tell you to lean in and turn up your speakers, and we all took the bait, and there'd be like some horrible goblin that would jump out at you and scare the crap out of you.
Or you got Rick-rolled.
Yeah, Rick rolling.
Yeah.
Or it was that, and then I had like a couple of pen pal friends in the States, like family friends or cousins or whatever, where we would send each other like long form letters. I'd be like, "Dearest Abby, I hope this letter finds you well." Like just long form stuff or ridiculous forwards.
It's so true. And the handles. Do you remember the handles? Do you actually remember your very first email handle? Because we found out later on you could never use those in the workplace.
And I think the moment that happened was like as soon as you had to start putting it down on job applications, you're like, I can't be Clown Show 12 if I'm applying for a serious job.
No, and people still have some of those early handles that they're still using today. Like, I love to party, but they had to use like a 2 or like, they use the 4.
I love to party. Yeah. Skater boy for life.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah.
I didn't really have an embarrassing one, thankfully. I just chose Gurdeep67 at hotmail.com. That was my first one. I chose 67 because it was the last year the Leafs won the cup, which back then was only 30 years ago.
Right.
Now it's 58
Now
years.
it's just sad, so you wouldn't do that. Okay.
What was yours?
Mine was Pooja at wildmail.com.
Wild mail?
Yes. Like nobody heard of it, and people would be like, ooh, wild mail.
Yeah,
what's
like
going on there?
Pooja's gone wild?
Yeah. Meantime, it was like the World Wildlife Fund. Like every time you sent an email,
Did you work for them?
No.
Why did you have
Every time you sent an email, a portion of like the proceeds of like the ads that would run on that website would go towards the Wildlife Fund.
Oh, I'd never heard of that.
I was trying to give back, but
it was charitable email.
But it sounded very like salacious. Pooja, wild mail.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. What about you, producer Seth?
My brother was the master of the computer. No one was allowed to touch the computer. So he created one for me at like 14. And because I loved fairies, he put Steph the Pixie at like Yahoo or something.ca. And then I remember same thing, like when you had to do your resume, and I'm like, I can't use this on my resume. That's not cool.
So Steph, explain your email. We think you might be a great fit for the company, but can you please explain your email address?
What's with the fairies and the pixies?
I mean, we all did it, but now we have to be so professional in our email addresses.
The Pooja and Gurdeep Podcast.
From 98.1 CHFI.
Do you experience ASMR? Audio sensory meridian response. If you do, you're one of 20%. You're part of 20% of the population that does. The other 80% is like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Like,
you don't.
I do not experience it. I've watched enough videos now to sort of understand what it's all about. It's like all the videos I've seen, at least, involve sounds of some sort. Like there's either whispering or there's like tapping of products or there's like even bubble wrap. There's certain things that can trigger your ASMR, but it's not that straightforward.
It can be audio based, and it can also be visual. The triggers are different for different people, so it's hard to speak for everyone. But the reason we're telling you this is there's actually a new place in Toronto called Tingles Bar. It's been around since 2018, but they're moving to this new location at Yonge and Wellesley. They're scaling up because 20%, that's not really niche. That's a big chunk of the population. That's 1 in 5 people. So people are actually going and they set up these like spa-like sessions where they'll do your ASMR triggers. They'll tailor it to you. And what it feels like, Pooj, it's like...
Let me guess. Tingles?
It's like a brain tingle. And it feels so good. It's paralyzing in a way. Like it feels so good that if you experience it and you're sitting down, you'll kind of just melt in your chair. And if you're not sitting down, you better sit down.
Really? Okay. So if they actually tailor this to your ASMR preferences, and it can be like anything. For some people, it's hair brushing, it's head massages.
It could be like this.
Could be that.
For some people, it's this.
Yeah, it could be ambient sounds.
Tapping on a table.
Could be any of those things.
Yeah.
What is it for you?
Yeah, mine aren't any of the common ones. I will say the common one I do vibe with is Bob Ross, the artist. He was a trigger for a lot of people, A, because of the sound of his voice, B, because of the sound of his brush on the canvas.
Oh, okay.
And C, and it's the C trigger that did it for me, it's the focusing on a craft, focusing on what you're doing with attention, with very specific attention to detail, which is what Bob Ross did with the little happy little squirrels, right? Okay. So for me, it wouldn't be getting a massage, which feels good. It might be the in-between a massage. For example, if I was watching the RMT prep the room for the next person, so cleaning off the pillow, laying down a new sheet, tucking that sheet in and pressing it out to make sure it's perfectly fine with no wrinkles, putting down a new pillow, cleaning off the table, lining up all her little oil and massage bottles nicely on her tray again so the room looks meticulous, spraying a little nice floral scent, setting the music. It's the attention to the fine detail. Watching
How do you know
that,
all those details? That's the first question.
Yeah, I don't know.
You've done this.
Well, like it could even be like a maid's turning over a room in a hotel and just like finally paying attention to the detail. It's that. It's a barber rubbing that brush on the brush of your neck and cleaning all their tools in the barbicide.
Oh my gosh. I have a visual of you just like sitting there watching them do this and just like drooling in your chair.
Why do you think I get haircuts every 2 weeks? It's not just to look this fresh. It's because it triggers my ASMR to watch someone at their finely tuned craft.
I can see how passionate you are about it, but this does nothing for me. I would just be like, let's get this show on the road. Where's my massage?
And I totally get why, for someone who doesn't experience ASMR, why this would sound absolutely bonkers. But if you experience ASMR, you might be listening to this going, yes.
Or, you're a little bit weird. You gotta do it like that.
I'm not arguing that bit.
20% weird.
Thanks for listening to the Pooja and Gurdeep podcast.
Listen to Pooja and Gurdeep live weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Only on 98.1 CHFI.
Toronto's perfect music mix.